Do you feel you've been wearing a mask and you would like to express yourself more freely? Well, stay tuned because we are talking about pleasure, intimacy, deconstructing patriarchy, and expressing your unbound, hot, sexy self. I'm Candia Raquel, and you are at the Sensual Sessions Podcast, the place to explore sensing pleasure through your senses and moving in a way that it's free from inhibition and full of self expression. If you haven't already, make sure to go to my website and subscribe to get these episodes delivered on your inbox every week. It's my name, candiaraquel.com, www.candiaraquel. And today we have a very special guest. This is Sasha Ostara, fellow Mexican Chilanga. We are very happy here representing worldwide sensuality. And welcome, Sasha. I am really happy and honored to have you here.
Thank you so much, Candia. It's such a pleasure to be here with you and with your audience. Thank you so much for creating this space.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit more about you. I know that you have been training sexuality coaching. You are a Mujer Medicina. You are a healer. You can also see things that we may all see, but we are like wearing all these veils. I know that you read tarot. I know that you work on body wisdom, but tell us about how you become in touch to all of this.
Mm. So, for me, it was a search for my own benefit At first, I was really looking for that medicine that would bring me back to my body. It started with the Jade. I don't know if your audience is familiar with this Taoist practice, but the practice of the Jade came to me in the moment in which I had just had a C-section, and I felt the disconnection in my body. I felt how my body was one from the top up and down. Like I could feel the dissection. The energy circuit was broken. And I was going through a very difficult process as well because I was a very young mother without all the support that was required. Um, I had already experience in the spiritual realm. I had that training as a priestess ever since I was 12. But the thing that was missing was the body, was how to connect to my body, how to connect to the body in a way in which I felt that it was, again, building together, in which I could also love it the way that it was, even in times that were so challenging. And so the J deck came to my life, and I started doing practices that felt like pleasure, that felt like my body was able to dance, to move, to feel alive again. And that showed in my life. Like actually people would tell me that I started to look different, and I could feel that circuit rewiring, because according to Chinese medicine, our energy is like a river, and it has uh, moments in which this river gets like polluted, and energy stops flowing properly. So this connection with this practice actually helped me clean that river so it would flow again. And that was the first thing that made me approach sacred sexuality. From then on, I started exploring. I met my teacher, Leila Martin, and eventually I started exploring deeper the connection between sexuality, the body wisdom, which is somatic practices, and simply trauma and empowerment, because one thing leads to the other. The way in which our bodies respond is connected to, and our pleasure are connected to trauma, both personal and systemic. Like one thing is deeply interconnected to the other. Why am I disconnected from my pleasure? Oh, because of my personal experience and because of my surroundings, the people around me, their culture, their views of the world, the views about women, the views about sexuality, the views about pleasure. And all of those pieces form like this fractal in which one piece is the reflection of a bigger piece. So for me, all the pieces started falling in order, and it was like, okay, pleasure is a road to liberation, which is a road to systemic change, which is a road to feeling better in my body, and in that way, actually making an active change. Because when we are loving who we are, we get to actually do the things that we can do, that we are better at doing. When all of that energy that is wasted hating on ourselves and feeling miserable starts being poured into creativity, we get to actually make a change.
Wow, I am amazed that, well, first off, you were trained as a priestess when you were 12 years old. Like that's that's a very empowering inheritance, so to say. And it's also a lot of responsibility being such a young person, but at the same time, later on, you talk about the challenges that you have after being a very young mother. And I was like amazed, like how you came in touch with a lot of responsibility on the utmost intimate aspect of being a woman, which is motherhood. And but you also, from before, you also had like that learning of being a priestess, and then how the C-section created like a disconnect in your body. And a lot of women are so numb. I have been so numb that they don't even realize that they have become disconnected. Like they don't, they leave it, they they get postpartum depression, but they they are like so lost in the lack of sensitivity, they are not able to point out exactly what happened. So it's like I feel bad, but I don't even know what is wrong, and I don't know if something is wrong with me or something happened with me or to me or around me or the environment, because we are also pretty spongy. Like we absorb a lot of things,
Yeah.
femininely speaking. And then I am amazed of how the Jade practice, that is like sticking a jade egg, a stone inside your vaginal channel, was what connected your body after the C-section. And so it's like, oh wow, the sense of self has a perhaps its headquarters
Mhm.
on the base of the body, which is the pelvic floor, which is our sex organs. And how important is to be in tuned with this area of our body beyond sexuality. Like that was the way that you restore the connection with yourself, that you restore your sense of bodily self, your body image. So the objective was not to, I don't know, bring another sexual practice to the table with your man or your partner, or whatever. It was something about, it was a medicine approach. And now I'm feeling that I need to order a jade egg after we finish recording this episode. But it's the whole thing. And oof, two things come to mind. One thing is that a lot of people associate the body with sex as if it's the same thing. And there, my mother, for example, uh, wasn't able to hug me. She really hugged me like for 3 4 times in my life. Like I really felt her embrace, but generally she hugged me like with the extended arms and just like tapped my shoulders. And the way she greeted everyone was the same. And she even gave me air kisses, and everyone, like I just like barely touch your cheek, like to comply with the societal norm of greeting someone physically somehow. But it's like no, the like the body is connected to sex. And I mean, of course, yes, that's how we ended up here. But but I mean, body and sex from this horrible Catholic inheritance that we have as Mexicans, that the body is sinful and pleasure is the straight way to hell. And anything that is physical is connected to sex, and then it's connected to stuff. And it's inappropriate unless it's on a certain context and whatever. And I feel something that I like a lot about the tarot cards is the interpretation of having like the four, like the cups, the golds,
The
the coins,
pentacle.
the pentacles, and then we have the wands
Mm-hmm.
and the swords. And something that was very relieving and healing for me was to understand that the pentacles, one of the significant meanings is the body, and the
Mm-hmm.
wands is vital energy and sexuality. So for me it was like, okay, they can come together, the arousal energy and sex drive, and you feel it in your body. But it's only when these energies come together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like you use your sexual energy uh, to clean the house,
Uh-huh.
and you use the body to eat. But I feel that we Westerners have like a mess with this with the idea of the body and the sex, and what and everything connected to sin or to laziness. Pleasure is for the people that have nothing better to do, and it's like a waste of time. So that's one thing, the idea that the body and sexuality is the same.
Yeah.
And now with what you say about the jade egg practice, is like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
the sexual organs can be approached not only for sex, not only for intercourse, but as a bodily matter. And the other aspect that I want to say, I hope
Uh-huh.
I am not rambling too much, is the sexual energy that can be experienced through arousal, that is like, yeah, like I am getting wet, or the guy is getting it up with an erection, and my heart rate changes, and there's a whole physiology change around that. But we can also work with sex energy in a non-arousal way, which is my general approach around sexual sensuality. Like sensuality as this pleasure energy without it forcibly implying sex. But
Yeah.
but if you turn up the dial, you turn up the flame of the stove, you will get turned on. So those are like my realizations about body and pleasure, and your experience with the jade egg recovery, like shed a light. Like it was like a confirmation of these views that I have. So I am very curious to ask you
Yeah.
about what you mentioned in regards to trauma, because sometimes we are not able, like, some, especially around sexual trauma, and it doesn't, I mean, it's not required to have been the victim of sexual abuse. Just being glanced in a disgusting way. For
Yeah.
example, in Mexico City, that there are some disgusting guys in the subway, and they even yell, scream things at you, and that can create an imprint of fear and insecurity. That as a woman, of course, like I've tried to clean myself, but even nuanced things can create trauma. So
Yeah.
I would like to know your take on it, and the different layers of connection. I mean, the different how it affects not only sexually but also energetically and also physically, and also in regards to pleasure in general, like you're not no longer able to savor a delicious meal because the connection with pleasure is like blocked, like the river that you mentioned of energy, like there's this trauma as pollution in the river of your vitality. Okay, that
Yeah.
was a long question.
But such an important one. I love it. So there's many things that I would like to add to this. The first is actually using the example that you gave about your mom, the keeping her distance physically, because the body is like sexual and not to be used in any other way. That is a trauma response that I have seen very often, specifically, particularly that flavor, because all people have different flavors of trauma. Uh, I have seen that a lot in Mexico, the idea that our bodies belong to a partner for their use and their pleasure, that is for them to use, for them to enjoy. I have asked people if they self pleasure, and the first answer is like, no, I feel like I could be cheating on my partner if I did. And that is something that happens way too much in our specific culture. In other cultures, there's other flavors. Like there's shame, there is fear, there is like that. All of them have different approaches, different traumatic views. And I call them traumatic views because they make us feel unsafe. And that's the point that I wanted to get to. When we feel unsafe in our body, when we feel unsafe to express our sexuality, our pleasure, our sensual self, like to look nice and wear that pretty dress and walk out in the street with confidence. And we feel afraid because we know that we're going to have people staring at us, that we're going to have somebody trying to touch us, that we're going to have somebody saying something that makes us feel uh, gross about ourselves. We feel unsafe to express our sensuality. And that shows because the body has a memory of its own. And that's where I feel like the main wisdom of the Jade practice and this healing through sexuality and through pleasure comes. Our body has memory. Our body has its wisdom. Our body has its own intelligence. And it needs to be heard because it collects memories in its own way. Like you might not remember consciously something, but your body does. When you have that memory, when you smell something and you don't even name it, but that smell triggers a memory. When you have that touch that immediately makes you ick because it triggered a memory. Our body knows the things that cause it pain, and it also knows the way back to healing. And we need to reconnect to his wisdom, to listening to the body. Um, I, Taoism believes that we have two hearts, the heart in our chest and the heart in our womb. And that these two hearts need to be in sync, so they need to be connected. That's why the Jade egg was so helpful. That's why it's so important to feel like this river is connected, because we have this Actually, we have three different centers of connection. Um, our head, our brain, and our womb. So these three areas need to be interwoven in a healthy way. And the energy, the river that flows through them and through the rest of our body is actually the life force that we can sometimes call arousal or sexual energy or pleasure or just a lightness. Like some people call it chi, ki. It's just life flowing through us. And when it is in this lower area, it feels like arousal. When it is in our middle area, it feels like love. When it is in our higher area, it feels like clarity. But it's just one energy flowing through us that is life itself, and that we need to honor without judgment of, oh, it's dirty when it's down there, it's dirty when it's sexual, because that is coming from a wound that is personal, and it's societal, it's interpersonal. So it's both. It's your own experience and the experience of those around you, and what you have heard about sexuality, and what you have, how you have been punished for touching yourself, how you have seen on TV that people touch and how they respond to this touch. All of that creates a very limited idea of a force that is unlimited and that flows through every one of us.
Yes, I am loving this confirmation of having three important centers like the head, the heart, the womb. And you're right, like clarity has a very special quality. Like when you're clear, it's like a special spaciousness. And love, it feels like a warmness, like a physical warmness in the chest. And feeling desire or lost, it has also like a very unique, potent, raw feeling like in the pelvis. And these sensations, in my experience, are very localized. And now I also like became aware, backtracking, that my my stronger connection is like top down. Like if I could sum the the moments of fulfillment in my life, I feel that I have cultivated firstly and foremost the head space, the clarity. And I I pride myself to be like sharp and to be able to see things for what they are and act in a way that it's congruent. And lesser times I felt like this heart center melting tenderness. I can even say that, well, I feel that I have a good heart, a noble heart since always. I luckily, as many of us, we have had the strength to not let our experiences rotten our heart and turn us into vengeful and bad people. Because like you can really, like, it's hard to have your heart broken and not take it up against the world, as most politicians that we have in Mexico and the US and etc. But yeah, I can say that that center was pretty much shut down. It wasn't until maybe 2017, like quite recently, that I discovered tenderness, like the tenderness of a teddy bear and chocolates, like, ah, that's so cute and pretty. For me, that was like even tacky, like, wakala, that's unscientific and weak, because I
Mm-hmm.
had like a warrior mentality that was like a more head warrior disconnected from the body
Mm-hmm.
and with a pretense of stoicism, disembodied stoicism.
Uh-huh.
And I discovered a tremendous vulnerability when I found tenderness. Like, I found tenderness as something out mostly brutal, of feeling skinless open
Mm-hmm.
and sensitive to myself, sensitive to the other, sensitive to pleasure, and also sensitive to pain,
Yeah.
which challenges like the ability to go out into the aggressive world that we live in and do our thing. And lastly, but I treasure those moments, and I am aware of when I'm feeling like this warmness in the chest, like when I am feeling like the true touch of love,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to stay there and cultivate that. Like when I am, of course, I always like treat my dogs kindly and the people that I love, but I know there's love. But when you feel it, like, whoa, this is, and it's wonderful. It's something to behold. And lastly, the moments of rapturous desire and drive. I think it's actually that's the second place, because I am connected to the to the drive, and I'm connected with the sensation of the pelvis. But what I want to say is that, at least in my experience, and I hope all these like rambling helps to for the sensualists here listening and watching, helps to as an inspiration to examine their own connection with these centers. So I feel that when you're connected, when to this life force, to you, when you are embodied and with these three centers, at least to me, it comes with the feeling of being really in the world, really in the here now, which is cliche and is highly marketed. And we are being sold the concept of be present and live life, love, and be embodied.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I even sell that.
Yeah.
But the truth is that it comes with a nakedness to be really here now. And I feel that's the way to to bring the totality of yourself forth into the world, and also take the world into you. And I can say also that it comes sometimes with the brokenheartedness of a light warrior. You cannot be a true warrior if you don't know what is to have a broken heart, because otherwise you wouldn't understand the brokenheartedness of the others and the ones
Mm-hmm.
that you're trying to serve. So I feel that when you have these three centers open, when you don't have like these blockages in your chi rivers,
Mm-hmm.
it's easier also not only for your own energy to run through you, but also it's easier to feel that the world runs through you, and even feel that the world cuts through you. And here comes my question,
Yeah.
because you wrote a lovely Substack article about the masks that that we wear, the masks that we shed, and the fire that we remember. So for me, coming forth into the world skinless, open to pleasure, welcoming pleasure, means also being open and being available to see if I can develop the capacity to deal with everything that is coming forth.
Yeah.
So the question is about the masks. Like I see the masks as these blockages of energy because like you felt disconnected from your body after a C-section, but someone that have gone through sexual abuse or emotional abuse, I mean, they better disconnect from the body.
Of
Like
course,
like in
that's the
an
survival
extreme
mechanism.
case of survival, like
Mhm.
that's exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
And when the time comes, and I see that as a mask, like
Hmm.
you are not showing that sensual self because it's shut down,
Yeah.
and you shut it down also for you in order like to keep yourself contained, even if it's in different fragments,
Yeah.
because when the fragments come together, you're gonna fucking have to face the reality of what you experience, or you have to face the reality of the world. It's like taking the mask, shedding the mask is in a way taking off your suit of armor when
Yeah.
you are a warrior. And at the same time, like I feel that superior warriors, like like the real martial artists that have gone through the way of the warrior, the most advanced skill is to be like water, my friend, as Bruce Lee said, to
Yeah.
move as nature, as one with nature. These people that are able to be armless and
Mhm.
disarm someone that is pointing at them with a gun. Like that's the superior art. And it's like I am fighting you by taking away the power to harm you, to harm me, and at the same time, the power of you becoming someone that harms.
Yeah.
So, this is super crazy already and complex, but yeah, you talked about the fire we remember, and I feel that is like very important part of the medicine, like the masks, like being disconnected from sensuality, being numb. I see them as masks,
Yeah.
and it's safe to a certain point that you're wearing your masks when you're walking in the subway at at a place that you don't know and it's late and you're alone and etc. So
Mhm.
my question is how to approach the masks that you wear and what's the best way to shed them so you can let your pleasure sensuality shine through in an unbound and liberated way.
That's such an important conversation. For me, the psyche, the human psyche, is so fascinating because of how complex it is. Like, we are not just one person, we are layers upon layers. I believe that we are this mosaic of different parts, different moments. What a lot of my work is based on internal family systems, this idea that we have different parts living inside of us. We have the child that has suffered, but also the child that is so happy. And it's like a Polaroid that freezes us in time and that develops itself as a part inside of us. We have the mother in my case, or the wounded warrior, or we have so many different parts and pieces of who we are. When we wear masks, we do that for different reasons. We do that to represent these parts, to let one of these parts show up for protection, or we do that to fit in. somewhere. So there's different masks. There is a survivor mask, and there is a mask that is not really us, but we pretend to be that self. And they are different. They are very different. It's very different to be somebody who you are not, just because that way these people will accept you. Now, okay, if I pretend to be somebody that cares about cars and clothes and things that I maybe don't care about, these girls will like me and they will introduce me into their social group. But I will be so unhappy all the time that I am spending time with them because that's not me. I don't enjoy that conversation. That's a mask that is not me. But a mask that is me is the mask that is maybe the nerd, which is one of my masks, and is the person that loves to have conversations about books and about this thing. Yeah, and that's a part of who I am. And that mask shows so for starters, masks can be different, and we wear them for different occasions. Some of them are true to our soul, and they are necessary for our daily battles. They are protectors, like what you said, like somebody that has dealt with sexual abuse, they develop a protector mask, a protector part that keeps them disconnected from the world, that keeps them isolated from the danger, and that's survival, and that's perfect in its own way. And it is to those masks that we need to learn to see, love, and honor, and yet again always question, okay, but who is behind that mask? Who
Okay.
am I underneath that mask? It's not about how whether we should wear them or not, because they fulfill a purpose. It's about at the end of the day, when you stand in front of a mirror and you realize who is the person that was wearing the mask, so that you don't get lost in the world of masks that we get to wear. And the beauty of that very vulnerable question is, okay, why am I wearing this mask? And what do I need? Because we are constantly, all these parts of us are constantly looking for our survival, for our thriving, for our safety. So just asking, who is the person wearing the mask and what is this person needing, can lead us to a safer battle. Now that you use that beautiful metaphor, because you know that you are not what other people say or see or think about you, but that you are something deeper, more powerful, more resilient, more alive, that is just changing, ever changing according to her environment and to her needs to survive.
Yes. And I'm loving the idea of actually like becoming aware of the masks, like using the masks as a sounding board. Like, okay, I am wearing this mask now. Who am I behind this mask? How would I feel if I take the mask off? And for example, like I am not religious, but I have gone through to the church, to the churches, to weddings and baptisms and stuff, and like I behave,
Yeah,
and it,
accordingly.
yeah, accordingly, and also on Christmas dinners with the in-laws, or when you see your auntie that always asks you the same shit, or tells you that you're overweight or underweight, or you have new wrinkles, or you or whatever, it's like, oh my god, like I need to really focus on not taking the mask off, because I would beat my aunt with the fucking mask. But it's like, okay, I am in a situation that I am not liking, and I am seeing like almost as this shield of mask, almost as an armor coming out, almost like a samurai mask or like a warrior mask, because they have like a very strong energetic and cultural and traditional imprints, masks. And
Yeah.
like, okay, who am I? But also, what is the function that the mask is performing in this moment? So is it a supporting function, or maybe it was a supporting function because it protected me, but
Mhm.
now it's not functioning anymore. It's acting as restriction. It's keeping me from, it's keeping me from connecting from the heart with someone that I love. For example, playing games in dating. Yes, like you can be pretending someone who you are not, or you are pretending to be cooler than what you are, or more interested than what you are. But at the same time, like, I know how intense I am, and it's better for me to not show, at least on the first encounter, like my true self, and let it all hang loose because people can like freak out. So it's like very interesting to just get curious
Mhm.
about your mask in any given moment, and like be okay with leaving it on if you feel that it protects you, and also checking if it's safe to take it off, and then take it off, and check if you have like the level of energy and level of confidence to take it off when you're ready, but it's a little bit risky to show your true self to someone or to a situation. And also, like, I remember in one interview, Brad Pitt just blurted out, "Shield, shield, shield." And then I understood, then I got in touch with the fragility and the humanness of that very popular actor. I
Yeah.
mean, we see his mask, but
Mhm.
but somehow his mask fell off in that moment where he told the interviewer, but it was
Mhm.
almost as if he was reminding himself to keep on the mask, to keep on the mask, and to keep up the mask. Or for example, our Mexican Luis Miguel, the guy had to grown he grew up wearing a mask, and he's wearing, and the thing is to be aware that if you're not aware, you made up ending up believing that the mask is your true face, and it's not. We have many selves. We are a multitude of selves. We are a whole album of our Polaroids of the wounded child, but also the very happy child that we were, and also like the traumatic experience as a teenager, but also like, oh, the first kiss, well, the first kiss that you enjoyed. And it's like a mosaic.
Yeah.
And yeah.
In in oh my God, archetypal psychology, we believe that there's a village. Like we have a village of characters. And the thing is, we have the hero, we have the warrior, the firefighter, the engineer, we have the villain. We have all of these different characters living in the village that is our psyche. The thing is, it's important to recognize that they are characters because one thing that happens when they are at play is that they forget that the rest of them exists.
Yes.
And that's very important. And that's another layer of consciousness when it comes to our psyche. The masks are how we present that into the world, and they are heavy. The thing with them is that they can really tire us down. Uh, and I say that as a neurodivergent person as well. Like wearing a mask is exhausting. Like, oh, I am pretending to be neurotypical. And at the end of the day, it's like, I am tired of looking at people in the eyes. You put the mask down. Uh, it's exhausting to wear a mask for a samurai warrior as well. Like they need to take it out to refresh. They cannot believe that they are that mask. They need to believe that to know that they are something, a fire, a power underneath that mask, and that the mask was just serving a purpose. So, like with everything, with the psyche and with the body and with our life experience, there is not right or wrong. There is just how you use it. The masks are not good or bad. They are necessary, and how you use it changes everything. I was thinking about Meryl Streep when you said Brad Pitt, but it's like Meryl Streep knows that who she is. She's Meryl Streep in her house. Outside, she's the Meryl Streep, like she pretends to be even another character. Then, in front of a camera or in the theater, when she's playing the character of the Bold West Prada, she's another person, and so on. Like she changes, she gets to change that. But if she doesn't take the mask out, she risks her mental health, which is what so many people do. Many people end up risking their mental health because they don't know how to take that mask out. And just to say that in a very specific way, like, okay, well, I am not what my father wanted me to do. Like, oh, I am a successful engineer and I have to behave like a successful engineer all the time. But in reality, I am a very fragile, scared little boy that wants to be pampered by his wife, but I don't dare to say that because I have to pretend to be the successful engineer all the time. And those men end up risking their own mental health and even committing suicides because they have to live up to a mask. And that's where it's important to say, okay, this is not you. This is a character that you're playing. This is something that is necessary in that specific scenario, but you don't need to replicate it all the time, everywhere, because then that part of you that is fragile, that is needing to be held, or that is needing to cry, or that it's needing to rage, or that is needing to explode in the family dinner that you said that I could take the mask and just punch my uncle. Like that part needs an outlet. It needs to be seen, recognized, celebrated, loved for what it is, even if it's not actually punching the uncle, like just like going back home and saying my uncle was an asshole. That can be so liberating. Just embracing the the complexity of the life experience, and that also, like bringing it back to sexuality, that also helps with our sexuality, because one of the main issues with sexuality is that we make love wearing a mask with a person that is also wearing a mask. We pretend to be, men are pretending to be so tough. I don't want to be vulnerable because then that will be criticized if I am too vulnerable, because men are supposed to be dominators. And it's like, dude, you're so gentle and so sweet. You actually want to be held. And then you have the woman that is pretending to be quiet and gentle and sexy. Oh yeah, I have to look like a porn star when I am in bed with him. And in truth, she actually wants to be fiery. Like even the noises. One of the main things that we learn when we're working with sexuality is that the noise that we make when we're having sex is a mask. The porn is a mask. When you hear a woman that is actually connected to her pleasure, it sounds so different. It sounds like fierce, like "Rawr," like it's like, oh my God, what are you possessed? Like it just sounds fierce. It sounds intense and deep and coming from deeper places of the body. And those are masks that keep us disconnected from our body, our psyche, our heart, and eventually our partner as well.
Yes. Yes. Yes, totally yes. Mask keeps us disconnected from our body, though they are functional. And I have to also confess a very interesting experience on a mask making workshop. Well, it was we were like researching um, choreographic creation at the Centro Nacional de Danza Contemporánea in Querétaro.
Uh-huh.
And part of the process of tapping into creation and creating dance movements and articulating a move a language movement involved mm, exploring the characters, exploring the movements, and for that we made masks, and it was very interesting to to use like this cast material when you broke your leg or whatever, and we used that material of like clay to put it in the face, take it off, and then pour cement on that so we have like a copy of our face, and on top of that with paper and with newspaper paper and glue we made masks, and we had a few sets of masks, and it was very interesting to see. I mean, I was like a bit shy and prude in comparison with my classmates. And I remember that I wanted to be more creative. Like, why am I not putting out the mask that I felt that I wasn't expressing how I wanted to look in the world with a mask or in that space when given the freedom. Like I had the freedom and I didn't fully use it. But anyway, I used my mask and it was like, wow, I didn't knew I had this side. Like, oh my God, what is coming out from me? And it was like unconscious. And you know, we have been talking about masks most of this episode, and I didn't remember about that masked experience until you said about the noises that we make when we are making love, that most of them are fake and are like okay, let's pretend that we are having a good time and I am like backing you up on whatever you're doing and doing as if I am enjoying it, and please you do the same because otherwise I'm gonna feel rejected or who knows what.
Mhm.
And the sounds when you are really, really in your body and really like immersed in the rogue reality of fucking, of sex, is like you sound like a donkey in heat, or yeah, or I wished I said a panther or something more sexy and elegant, but well, like a donkey or like a cat. Like I have heard cats that I didn't know if like the cat was being killed or the cat was having an orgasm, and it's
Yeah,
something really primal and like you know there's something going on with the neighbors and you don't know if you should call the police or you should be inspired and clap, but
yeah.
it has this very authentic, raw, uncrafted quality of the nowness. of when something is really going on.
Mhm.
And that memory reminded me of my experience wearing real masks. That wearing a mask somehow made me feel safe enough to express a little bit of that side of me
Mhm.
that has been so repressed.
Yeah.
And I mean, the people around me, like, oh my God, this is a madhouse. And it was fun, but it was also a little bit scary and edgy. And it was like, okay, nice to meet you. Like,
I didn't know
we
I had this in me.
yeah, like I didn't knew I had this in me, and I didn't knew I kind of was savoring the flavors of everyone else around the room, like the classmate that was like the dancer that was too skinny, didn't kind of weak and etc. She took that side, and it was like, wow, like I need to see if I am really not gay, because like that side of you, it's it touches some erotic traits in me, even though we are like whatever. And also like it was really 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 interesting,
Yeah.
and it all ties up to this foundation of safety that you began with on the recording, like having this connection to the self, and then be safe to to express like
Yeah.
other sides of you.
I love this story about Marilyn Monroe, and I'm sure you know it, where she's
Yes,
like walking
yes,
in the street with a friend, being just herself, her everyday self, and and all of a sudden, like she was walking in the street with her friend, being her everyday self, and all of a sudden she was like, "Oh, do you want to see Marilyn?" And she just like turned into Marilyn, and everybody turned to see her. Just her body changed, her expression of her body changed because she put on that mask. Like she wore the mask of Marilyn,
yes,
and that was liberating, and that's where we are touching here,
yes,
the point that we're touching. Yeah, a mask can also be liberating for these parts of you that you get to express, and at the same time she needed to remove that mask and be herself with her friends and tell her, okay, this is not me, like I'm not Marilyn Monroe every day, I'm just Marilyn Monroe, I can turn it on and off. We do that a lot with sexuality work. We do
yes,
the like, okay, let me just wear the mask of, and you choose your archetype. Like I want to wear the mask of a seductress. I want to wear the mask of the courtesan. I want to wear the mask of the sacred prostitute, or of the submissive prostitute. Like I choose to change a mask, and it doesn't have to be physical. It's just that this is the energy that I will allow myself to step in right now. And it changes the way in which you connect with your body, because all of a sudden you are the sacred prostitute of Venus, and it feels like your partner is worshiping you because he's worshiping Venus through you. Or right now I am a dominatrix, and I will tell you what to do, and I will tell you how to do it. And your whole corporality changes, your body changes, the way in which you stand is different, your voice changes. That's because we're tapping into these archetypes, into these energies. And then again, we get to tap in and out. We don't get to be all that character all the time, because that's exhausting. We get to tap in and say, now I am free to express my courtesan, and I will be the most slutty courtesan ever, and I will be a seductress, and I will act like that in bed. Because the thing with pleasure is that it allows that playfulness, is that it brings this natural force, invites us to play with it. And playing with it invites us to do things like wearing a mask, like in your theater and dance class. You can wear the mask and play and now be the most vulnerable creature that needs to be held and that it's going through a situation and I need my partner to rescue me. And you can play roles with that. That's the magic of sexuality. It gets to be a field of joy and playfulness, and that brings healing because then these parts of us get to express themselves and we get to heal them through this narrative in which we have control.
Yes, this narrative in which we have control, like it's our game. And
Yes.
I love a quote from Cristobal Jodorowsky from a workshop of tarot reading in Mexico City, that he said like the like, I mean, this is just printed paper. Like a tarot card is a printed paper. It's not something worthwhile setting someone on fire. It's just printed paper, and it's a set of cards, and it's your game. And
Yeah.
yes, these are archetypes, and they have like meanings that we agreed on a certain mystical consent. But it's important not to lose the focus that at the end, maybe it was his father, Alejandro Jodorowsky, that said, like, you are the tarot, and the tarot is a book of flesh that it changes because you change, and then you pour out like a certain combination of cards to see yourself as a mirror. And something that was really healing for me from Cristobal is that, okay, you have your spread, and if you don't like a card or you don't like the order of the card, you take it and you change it, or you grab your all the cards until you find a card that you like and you place it there, because that's the magical act of taking ownership of your own game, and the sovereignty and the creative sovereignty of your real life, in the sense that in this moment I am seeing something that I don't like in my life,
Mhm.
that is coming out expressed subconsciously on this tarot spread. And in this right moment that I see that, in this moment I change it. And
Yes.
it's like it's my game, and I am in control, and I am the one that sets the rules. And it's so liberating now to expand that approach and that meaning to something as important, healing, powerful, and challenging as sexuality and intimacy, and even beyond that, something as fundamental for life as your own pleasure. So it's like, it's my pleasure, it's my body, it's my choice, and I'm the one to decide what role I'm playing. Like, I am now, I want to be the sacred slot that is worshipped, or I want to be super passive as the, I don't know, the high priestess, m- being loved by God or whatever, or I want to be the empress that is all flashy and maybe twerking at reggaeton, or the star that is the muse and the inspiration for the beloved. Or maybe today I'm gonna be the emperor, and
Yes.
you're gonna be my hangman. I'm gonna tie you up. So even now, talking, expressing
Uh,
with this
Let me
fluid.
just say I'm loving the image. I'm gonna have to just I love it.
Yeah, you love being the emperor and the other one the hang. You're gonna be my hangman, or yeah, like now I'm gonna date the devil. Like I'm gonna be the high priestess, and I'm going out with the devil, or I'm gonna do a sex magic ritual with myself to leave the past behind. So now I am the nameless arcana, the arcana number 13, that is also called the death. So it's like, for example, for me, like every time I have my period, like I really try to use those few days of menstruation to really let the blood take all the horrible stuff that I went through on the last month, and it's really cleansing. And I mean, it's just our regular blood, but you can use the symbols, and you can use your cycles, and most importantly, you can use your own imagination and your own creativity to embed with meaning
Mm.
for for your with a great intention for yourself, in order to
Mhm.
heal and also in order to create. And now I am realizing that this is the same power that we can use, the power that we can use to heal is the same power we can use to create, and
Yes.
to create a great intimate experience with the beloved, or with yourself. And just to wrap up, um, previously, well, I would you like to add on something around these symbols and arcana before jumping on onto the last question?
I just love the sexual imaginary of the arcana because it's so powerful. Like we get to play with that. We get
Yes.
to move through the archetypes in a way that is both liberating and playful.
Yeah, liberating and playful. And you mentioned that you have seen in a lot of your clients or students, especially from Mexico, that they don't indulge or they don't cultivate self pleasure because they feel and believe that their body belongs to their beloved, and that their sexuality, it's not even yours. And I can relate to that in two experiences that I'm gonna try to share them briefly, because maybe a good reference for the sensualists here listening to us. The first one was me as a ballet dancer, and I was for a long time pretty fit and skinny, and even though I have like a strong build, like a Viking, like I am like sturdy and resistant. And my body was never good enough for my teacher because I was always somehow too heavy. And it's not that I am heavy, I am kind of tall. I am almost, well, not that tall. I am 168. But
Mhm.
for the rest of my classmates, I was tall. And it took me years to heal and realize that, first off, he didn't mean it wasn't ill intended. Even his words hurt, but they were not meant to hurt. He's just gay,
Mhm.
and he really likes male bodies
Mhm.
from young men. That men on their 20s tend to be slim and very tight and
Mhm.
ripped, and my body is not like that. There are women that they don't have much boobs or whatever, that are very skinny, like models, but I felt that my body wasn't mine, that my body obeyed to fulfill a role, a mask that I was imposed. And the
Mhm.
continuation was to see sometimes a certain disappointment from my Pilates students. I gave Pilates teacher trainings in for over a decade in Mexico. So I had a lot of students, and many of them were trophy wives, and the husband paid for the training, and the husband bought them a Pilates studio so they could like start up and do something with their lives.
Mhm.
But in a way, they also lived with a very strong mask and with a very strong imposition on having a body that would please the men, so the men would keep on providing them because the only thing they were bringing to the table was her beauty, the beauty according to those male standards. So they
Mhm.
always, on the times that I was heavier, I felt their effort to keep looking at me with admiration for my knowledge, regardless that my body wasn't as fit. I mean, was fit, but was covered in fat. Because, like, I was chubby, but very strong and muscular within. But they really struggled with that. And I felt their pain, and it also hurt me. And it was like, it was very liberating to shift my professional life direction and now talk about pleasure and sensuality regardless of your age, weight, or body shape, because now I freed myself from being a fucking role model even on pleasure. Like, don't imitate me, just take the reflection as you and use them for your own. So yeah, like, I feel it's a very strong imprint of the patriarchy of disowning our own bodies. Like, we like the script says that your body is not yours, it's for your man's pleasure, and it should be like attractive for him. And at the same time, the body of your man is not his body. His body is in the service of war, conquering, hustling, striving, and working. And God forbid your husband falls ill because he won't be able to provide. So
Yeah.
it's like very violent. And we have internalized that even though we are pretty much free in Mexico in many ways because we can access pleasure through the colors, through the music, through the food, through our charisma. Like, we have a very rich culture, but at the same time, we have this ingrained belief of the disowning of our bodies. So I want to ask you for a little gift, if you would feel inspired to share with us 2 minutes or 5 minutes of a little practice so we can feel that even though we know our body is ours, how how can we get to feel it, like, yes, this is mine and this is me. I am my body.
Yes. First of all, let me say thank you for sharing that experience because it's such an important conversation. We, um, as people in general, have been denied the possibility to live our bodies, to experience their joy. And there's always this idea that we will get to that place once we look a certain way, once we achieve certain things, uh, and that never comes. That goal keeps being moved, like the carrot and the horse. Like we just never get there. There's never skinny enough, fit enough, rich enough, wealthy enough. There's never that. So we need to start loving who we are today. And in order to do that, the practices that I offer are about compassion for that body that we have today. Um, I would like to invite you to do this with whatever part of your body feels the most tender, the most unloved, the one that has been rejected the most, the one that has been criticized the most. And just let's start by rubbing our hands together. Now that you have chosen what part you will love, we're going to rub our hands together and then feel the warmth in our hands. Feel how it grows between our hands, how it gets to grow a little bit more. We can just even expand and contract our hands, like feeling that little energy bubble in between our hands, how it grows. We can add it a color. I like to think of a color that feels full of love and aliveness for you. And just feel this bubble growing in your hands, in between your hands. And we're going to bring it to that part of our body that has been deeply criticized. We will bring these hands to the part of our body that is the most unloved. And here's the trick. We're not doing that to fix it. We're not doing that to change it. We're not doing that to do anything to it. We are doing that to love it. And how we love? We love by hearing, by listening. This part of your body has a pain of its own. All the things that you have said to yourself or that others have said to you, all the criticism, all the moments in which you grab it with disdain. This part remembers, this part knows, this part grieves, this part has suffered. That's rejection. In its own cellular level, it has a consciousness of its own. So we're touching this part with listening hands. If there are thoughts, emotions that arise, just observe them. They might show up as moments in which you felt rejected. There might be shame about rejecting this part. Just let it be. There's no changing. There's just listening. Like we would listen to a friend that comes to you and tells you, hey, people was mean to me yesterday. Just listening. Just responding the same way you would respond to a friend that has just been rejected or bullied. Just listening. Saying, hey, I'm sorry. You had to go through that. You didn't deserve it. You deserve so much love. You're so perfect, just as you are. Because that's the love you could give to a child or to a friend that came to you with the heart broken because she was criticized. Offer that love to this part of your body, that compassionate listening. Trust is earned. She may not trust you at first. Keep loving it. You're not changing her. You're just caressing this part of your body like you would hold a friend with a broken heart. You might say, I'm sorry. You might say, I love you. And think about the beautiful things this part has done for you. Maybe it feels funny, like I'm touching my belly. It feels funny to wiggle my belly. I love to wiggle my belly. She's so cute. She's so tender. I just love her.
Yes.
And I know that culture might not like her. You know what? It's mine. It
It's mine.
functions.
Yes. I am also holding my love handle like this.
Yeah, exactly. She deserves to be held. to be loved, to be seen, to be just be without any need to change. Because we don't need to change anything in us to be worthy of love, to be worthy of compassion. Because all that criticism is heavy on us and we deserve a break. We deserve to be in our own corner. We deserve to support our own selves. And to do this as often as we can, because these parts deserve to be held with love and with compassion.
Yes, and oh my God, it was not easy.
I know.
Because it's like I've been complaining that my jeans are not wanting to close anymore because I have been eating like 35 bolillos a week because I have been dealing with a lot of stress, and that's what my way of coping and self-medication and stuff. And
Exactly.
I
That's
feel
what you
relieved that I
need.
am no longer like a fitness role model or perfection or whatever. But here came the realization, well, like I don't know if I am really agreeing of having a love handle,
Mhm.
but I am gonna do the practice. And then came the realization, like, okay, who put the extra calories in there? It was me. Like, okay, like, yes, this is a part of my body, and it's not my belly's fault to be not super flat. Well, whose fault was it? And then I was like, oh no, now I am pointing fingers and looking to blame another part of myself, another part of my mosaic, to blame, and then to lay duty on, like, should, must, ought, or shouldn't have done that, and should act differently, which could appear to be an expression of responsibility and maturity, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's the contrary. It's it's like internalized patriarchy because I want to lay blame on something, but it is like self-aggression. And then another realization came, like overeating. Why was I overeating? I was overeating because that was the best thing that I could do at a certain moment. And I am really blessed that I had more food than the one I needed for my consumption. And it really helped me to cope up with a legal issue that I was dealing with the last week with its tough shit. And like, okay, okay, now I can backtrack my love handle and also realize that it goes beyond, and there is still the voice of my dance teacher, and there's also the glance of disappointment of my Pilates students, and it's also my collection of Vogue magazine that I have. And there's also like, okay, I have a knee injury, and it would be better to really be at my top best weight and not a little bit higher. And at the same time, it was like, do I really want to do something about it? And what if I ask my belly, how does it feels about it?
Mm.
And then I just felt like the craving for broccoli, which is very really weird because I normally have cravings for tacos, not
Yeah.
for broccoli. And it's like normally when I am eating healthy, quote unquote, it's mostly out of duty, not out of desire, because somehow I put a wedge on the connection to listening to my body.
Yes.
So a lot to dig onto the with this work, and it's really a treasure to have the practice that you're sharing with us, because I take it as a space holding practice. Like, I was expecting, like, okay, now I'm gonna make peace with my belly and I am gonna organically, somatically lose weight. That's how I what I was thinking on the first minute.
Yeah,
And
like
then you were
I
like,
will tell you that I don't want to change you, but I will change you indirectly. Like
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
cheating, and the
I
body
am going.
knows.
I am gonna tell you that I don't want to change you, so you relax and change by yourself. It's yeah, it's like when you really want to see, I don't know, your boyfriend or or a guy or a woman that you're really crushing onto, and you are like, oh no, take your time. Like, I know you're busy, and I don't want to lay pressure on you, but at the same time, it's like, so you see that I can do without, and I want you to miss me the way that I am missing you.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
yeah. And how to tap into, okay, no, I'm really holding space for my beloved to come to me because of the right reasons, because of desire, not because of coveted manipulation or coveted fear to lose me. Because then, if even if he comes through their own will, if I am wearing that mask and I am having that inner stance that, okay, my manipulation technique is working, I will never be able to receive the act of love. So now I'm taking this practice of beholding a rejected or neglected or aching part of our body from that place of holding space and making up for the self abandonment and
Yeah.
lack of self respect, or just like self neglect and disconnection, and like, okay, I am here for you and I am beholding you just the way I would like hug a friend in need, or a little bird with a broken wing. And it's lovely, like, just that holding space is liberating, and it's empowering, and it's tender, and it even allows for the expressiveness of desire and pleasure, like this broccoli craving that was so weird, but I'm gonna have a broccoli.
And there's so much wisdom in what you just shared. Like, first of all, the body knows what it needs to heal. And sometimes it looks like overeating because that's saving you from a mental breakdown. Like, and that's the tool that you have in that moment. And that saved you from a mental breakdown. That was, I feel like there's so much hate on overeating as a coping mechanism when sometimes it's what the body is needing. Like, hey, give me that dopamine. Like, I don't care where you get it from. I need it to make it to next day. And that's okay. And then the body knows the way back to balance.
Yes,
When
yes.
we listen, when we hear, when we are just holding that space without judgment, because it knows when you're like, yeah, I'm holding the space for you, but you're going to change, right? It knows when you are just like lovingly listening and say, okay, what is it that you want? And then after it cries with you, after it tells you, I've been feeling awful because you've been treating me awful because of the criticism, not because of what you ate, but because of the criticism. It goes like, and I actually crave broccoli because I actually crave to feel healthy. Like, it's not about how I look, it's about how I feel. It goes back to that space. Like there's this one practice that I love to share, which is if you try to open a fist, if you like make a fist and just like just okay, just open it with the other hand, and it just gets tighter. Like
Yes.
you
Resist.
can't.
Yeah.
It resists. But if you just place the hand underneath and say, you know what, just I will just hold you. I'm just here to hold you.
Ooh. Ooh. Starts to open and even the shoulder and the neck. Wow.
It just opens up.
Let's go of the resistance and the grip because it provides safety and then pleasure opens.
Exactly. So what is it that you need? I need broccoli. Like, what is it that you need? I need to be held. Like that constant going back to the body and asking, okay, what is it that you need? Can make and just hold a space for their needs can be the one difference between this oppression with the hand and just this openness
Yes.
happening naturally.
Yes. I'm loving it. I am feeling spongy. Like taking more space and enjoying like you know when we were talking about the mask and taking off the mask and the suit of armor and feeling almost skinless in the wild world and very vulnerable, I was kind of scared with the imaginary. And now I am feeling like I feel that I am breaking through to the other side because now I'm feeling like more spacious and vibrant and also kind of naked, like vulnerable, open. But now I am finding safety in the intimate connection with the environment because in this deep listening of the winds of the circumstances of my inner circumstances or on your circumstances in connection with mine, I feel that I am like more structurally coupled to dance with the environment. So I feel that I am more attuned to danger to shift and to move, and I feel like more fluid and like spongy but flexible and movable. And now I get what you meant with the river flows of our chi. Like this is our nature's way. We are stronger when we are at one with nature, with our own nature, like the wild river. I
Yes.
mean, that's safer than being inside that being water inside a plastic bottle.
Yes.
So, and yeah, sometimes, maybe oftentimes, we really need to put our suit of armor on and our mask and hold on tight to our sword or machete or broom or whatever, or your belief system, or 35 bagels, or whatever you need.
Yes.
But when you like, yeah, you need the fist to punch hard, but try to be curious enough to realize when the fist is no longer needed and when you are locked in a tight position, and see if you can provide yourself with support to release and let go and maybe approach the challenges of reality and the delights of reality from a more open, playful way where you resume your ability to play with the different aspects in you that you can bring forth.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. This is gold, Sasha. Really thankful for having you here at the Essential Sessions podcast. So tell us, how can we know more about your work, connect with you, learn from you?
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you found this useful, that you carry this in your heart. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Um, So people can find me both on Instagram and on Substack. I also have a website, sasha-ostara.com. I am both a coach and a tarot reader. I am a somatic and sexuality coach, meaning I can teach people one-on-one or in groups. I have group programs as well. And also people can go for a reading if they are just like trying to explore what they are needing and they are not ready to dive into a coaching process yet. So they can contact me for either.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sasha, for being here at the podcast. Really honored with the opportunity.
Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for listening.
And also, thank you, Sensualist, for being here. Make sure to go to sashaostara.com and book some somatic sexuality coaching with her or tarot reading. And also find her on Instagram and Substack as Sasha Ostara. And if you haven't already, go grab the free guide to awaken sensuality on my website, which is my name, candiaraquel.com, www.candiaraquel.com. Until next time, remember to take the time to sense your fire so you can share the flame.